Hello guys, once again welcome back to another Android Studio tutorial. In this video we are going to create a simple Android application that demonstrates how to working with SQLite database in Android. So we can start with a new Android Studio project. Open Android Studio and create a new Android Studio project. Specify application name. Here I name it as SQLite example. Select empty activity. So here the project is created. So the first step of working with SQLite database is to specify the database schema and contract class. So here in this application I am going to create a table that need 3 columns: ID, name and email. So in this video here I am going to demonstrate how to create the contract class and how to specify the database schema. So first we can close all these files. So the first here I am going to create the contract class. So right click the package and create a new Java class. I name it as contract and make it as a public class. To avoid accidental initialization of this class, create a constructor, default constructor. So inside this class here I am going to create an inner class. I name it as contact entry. So in this class here I am going to specify the database schema. So first we have to specify the table name. Public static final string. Table name. Here I name the table as contact info. That is the table name. Now specify the first column name. So here the first column name is contact ID. This is the first column name. Now specify the second column name. Second column name is name and the last column name is email. So this is the database schema. Okay, so now we create the contract class and we specify the database schema. So now we can create the database and table using SQLite Open Helper class. So for that here I am going to create another class. So create another Java class. Here I name it as ContactDB helper. And this class extends SQLite Open Helper. So here you need to implement some factory methods. So you have to implement these two methods, on create and on upgrade. Here we got some error because this class SQLite Open Helper does not have a default constructor. Okay. So first here we have to specify some variables. First we have to specify the database name. So create a string variable, database name. Here I named the database as contact DB, that is the database name. Now we need to specify another variable that represents the database version. So public static final int database version. Here I name the version as 1. Okay, so now we can create the database from the constructor of this class. So create a constructor for this class, contact helper, contact DB helper. So there is no default constructor for the SQLite open helper. So here we need some context variable parameter. So now we can call the superclass method. So first parameter is the context. Now second parameter is the database name. So here the database name available on this variable called the database name. Now the third parameter is a cursor factory object. So here we can pass null for it. And the final parameter is the database version. So here database version available on this variable called the database version. So from the constructor we create the database. So we can display some logcat message from here. Specify the tag for the message, database operations. Now specify the message, database created. Okay, so now from the onCreate method we can create the table. So from the onUpgrade you can update an existing table. Okay, so for create table we have to specify the SQLite query for table creation. So here create some variable, public static final string create table. So now specify the create table SQL query, create table. Now specify the table name. So we can get the table name from the contract class. So contract entry dot specify the table name. Now we can specify the first column name. So we can get the column name from the contract class. So contract entry dot, first one is contact ID. Now specify the data type for contact ID. Here the contact ID is an integer, so we can specify the data type as number. Now specify the second column name. Here the second column is name, so get the column name from the contract class. Here it is name. Now specify the data type. Here it is text. Now specify the last column name. Here the last column name is email. Now specify the data type, that is also text. Now close the bracket and put the semicolon. So this is the SQL query for create table. Now create another query for drop table if exist. So public static final string drop table. Now specify the query drop table if exist. Now specify the table name, contact entry dot table name. Okay, so now we can create the table from the onCreate method. So for the onCreate method we have one parameter, that is an object of SQLite database. So by using that object you can call a method called execute SQL. So here we need to create the table, so we can pass the SQL command for create table. So here we successfully create the table. So here also we can display some message. So here the table is created. Table created. So if you want to upgrade, if the table is already exist, we have to delete it first. So SQLite database and call the execute SQL method, and in that method we pass the drop table command. Then we need to create the table again. So you can call the onCreate method from this method. So here the onCreate method needs one parameter, that is an object of SQLite database. So now we create the contract class, we specify the database schema, and we create the database and table using SQLite Open Helper class.